This train will terminate at Edgware Road. All change, please, all change. Eastbound trains will be restricted.
What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video here on EMKWAN Reviews with me, EMKWAN. Now today's video is not going to be a tech video. In fact, today is going to be watches. I'm here in London. I've got a bit of a shopping list for some vintage watches. So we're going to have a look at some Rolex vintage watches here in London. It's very unusual for me to be given like permission to come into a store to film, and the guys here at the vintage watch company have been kind enough to do that. This is the owner here, David. So a big shout out to David for letting me do that. I'm just gonna show you a few of the watches that they have, and then David has a little surprise as well. I'm gonna get David to talk about some of them, but you've seen already some of the Pepsi references out there. A lot of you ask about the steel sports models. As far as vintage is concerned, they have a lot of those out there. In fact, more here than I've seen anywhere else in the UK, even in Dubai actually. And then there's quite a few day dates as well, particularly the reference, I think it's 18038.
1803, 1838, the more modern pieces. But as fun, let's start. So when were you born?
I was born in 1984. I almost forgot that.
Okay. So you're born in 1984. Our big theme is you buy a watch from the year you were born. So you won't play around with an amazing Pepsi.
Absolutely stunning.
You want a Jubilee bracelet, then obviously that's doable as well to kind of recreate the look of that model. Then you
but in a Jubilee bracelet.
Do a Jubilee style.
So here at the store, like for example, let's say I wanted to pick that up. Could you change it for me with a Jubilee bracelet?
Yeah.
You could do that in store as well. Perfect. That is really nice.
And then you go online, and on our website you can, search the database of the website by year. It says choose your birth year, and you tap in 84, and it brings up everything
perfect
in the collection. So it's quite unique, and obviously we ship worldwide. And so with GMTs comes the early version of GMTs, and then Submariner obviously alongside. So the icons of the Submariner world are the first Bond watches. 1962 date originally had the writing
the red
in red.
writing. Wow.
Again, lots of playing around with NATO spider dials where the face is basically cracked, but that color is now special, unique,
and very sought after as well.
And that's very early 1960s.
It's funny because a while back I did a video of the Rolex store in Dubai, and a lot of you guys complained that there were no stainless steel models in that video at all. A few of you said that you were threatening to unsubscribe. Well, I hope this has made up for it. I mean, this is just, look at that. The amount of stainless steel sports models in this one vlog is going to be insane.
I mean, you'll probably fly through the window again
I will
at the end.
I will
we're going to get them out.
At the end.
Ghost bezels where the fading has gone totally from black through to the grey and bleached out completely is called ghost, and the same can happen to GMTs. So again, down to climate and where they've been in the world and how hard a life they've had. These were professional watches, functional watches that were used by, divers or military personnel, or, the watches were functional. They had no idea that their future value was going to be so.
So if somebody buys them from you here, do you sell them with like box papers? Or?
So some of the collection, a lot of the 90s pieces that we now go into, because the Birkins will be fully with the paperwork, but the 60s, 70s is almost,
limited sort of
to get across a collection paper, because people didn't keep it. It was a 1-year warranty card that expired, and people moved many times. From the steel collection, there are gold pieces as well. So a GMT in gold. This combination of bracelet is extremely rare, with the oyster bracelet as opposed to a Jubilee. Magnificent color,
stunning.
Relaunched again in what people would call root beers or different combinations, but. When you look at a vintage styling, there's not really much comparison.
It's just so elegant, isn't it? It's beautiful. This is the detail about vintage watches which really
and you can't get it from quickly looking in the window for 1 second. You know, you have to look at these watches and understand that they're not all the same. I mean, we have a large collection, but a lot of the pieces are different. And you know, the uniqueness of watches that people are looking for nowadays. They don't want to wear the same watch that every other person has got, or go to a nightclub on a Saturday night and you
find all the
Daytonas wearing a Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there we go. It's true. It is true. Yeah.
So you can't really come to my store and not look at the Day. That is my passion, beyond passion, and to collect the stellar dials, the rare pieces that were made from the 70s, 80s for the Middle Eastern market. It's in extraordinary tones of colour. I'm kind of known for this area and will collect as many colours and variants as possible.
Stunning.
The rarer options are where they add stones on top of the lacquer itself, so you can have string dials or baguette stone dials and, you know, unique, magnificent pieces. So this is really special.
Wow. So these were made specifically, did you say, for the Middle East
Mainly for the Middle East market. And, you know, to be honest, weren't massively popular at the time, but now the Middle Eastern market is buying these watches back. And, you know, in London, the summer influx for us is hugely important.
Yeah.
We build this collection all year in order to have, you know, something available for people to come and see. And, you know, they are collecting from us the whole time.
Stunning, look at that.
And some have this bark finish, this brush design to the bracelet itself.
Oh, interesting.
It's called bark, like the bark of a tree.
Okay.
And this is a female and male market. I mean, men will wear these colours and women will wear these colours. So
36mm.
all 36mm, nothing is bigger in that period.
So, there's something in this box which David has been teasing me about.
Well, if you haven't got time to piece by piece build your own collection, then you can just walk in here and I'll give you
buy a box.
Collection. So take a box and open it in the way you normally do and have some fun.
Okay, let's have a look at this. So, there's a box within a box. All right, this is the properties now. So we pull this back, and 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Wow. Take a look at that. That is stunning.
Yellow stands out a mile. Wow. Yellow stellar dials are the rarest of all stellars. Highly sought after, made a handful of them in the world. Behind it, coral. Real coral stone. Again, unique, very, very hard to find. Beautifully rare. A green, but in white gold. White gold stellar dials are very much rarer than yellow gold stellar dials because they made fewer of those. So when they're on white metals, you'll find it harder to get them. This is not a stellar dial, but the beauty of the piece, fully diamond set all the way through the bracelet as well, is a slate grey, very unusual colour.
This looks like something
star dial, some people call them, effect that it looks like you're looking at a starry sky. Or
there are diamonds within the actual dial itself.
Yeah, and these dials are solid gold discs.
Interesting.
Punched with stones, like, and then all the way across the bracelet.
Oh, that's beautiful.
The value of this box is
kind of nervous now.
Quite considerable. I mean, you're talking, you know, 80,000, 90,000 for coral pieces, individual pieces here, 60s, 70s, 80,000.
Oh, gee.
You know, there's 10 pieces in here. So
wow, that is stunning. So something like the yellow dial.
You can do the math, but
I'm sure we can all do the maths with that. Basically, you're going to need either a black card or.
If you buy them all, we'll knock it down a bit.
Just a bit, huh? But something like this, what would this fetch?
About 85,000.
Okay, that's nice. That is really beautiful, and it's amazing. You're right. The yellow really does pop, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, that was the first watch that really stood out from the crowd, from the box.
But this is not something that, you know, 100 people can send me an email and say, I want a yellow. Yeah. This is it. You know, these come up, you visit the store, you know, once, and it's what we have on the day.
And literally,
I can't guarantee, you know.
I mean, these aren't sort of ordered in, no, as David was saying earlier on, these aren't ordered in. They source them throughout the year. Once they're gone, they're pretty much gone.
But obviously you can't leave here and have not seen any Daytona.
Oh, yes!
Vintage in terms of Daytona is the key. So the first versions all with pump pusher, drew down versions come in to make the watch more waterproof. And the buzzwords here in the Daytonas are big red. The word Daytona on the dial in the arc at the bottom in red text.
Absolutely stunning.
And here we would often achieve a birth year for some people also, late 70s.
That's incredible. Wow. Such an amazing collection. Oh, there's a but. It's beginning to sound like an Apple.
Well,
One last thing.
You answer the question, but who's the most famous wearer of a Daytona wristwatch?
Paul Newman.
So
you have
Paul
one.
Newman's own watch sold at auction
OMG.
at the end of 2017 for 17 million. This is not that watch, but the Paul Newman variant of the dial is extremely
stunning. Wow. What will this fetch now?
This will fetch just around 240,000.
Wow. Just shy of $250,000. I mean, for me, this is like such a big deal because, you know, you guys know I'm a big Rolex fan. And the fact that a lot of these models, I'm in Dubai, you know, there's a ton of collectors out there and stores. But a lot of these watches that I've seen today, I have never seen before. I've only seen in images and videos. So for me, this is actually quite a special treat as well.
The history of Rolex in this window based on the sports watches on the curve all the way down to the vintage early pieces that most people would identify to be Rolex. Rolex was formed in 1905 originally in the UK, originally in Hatton Garden. So, you know, there's huge history here. The window with all the Pepsis, all the GMTs together.
Yeah. I mean, this is just insane. The amount of watches that you have is really incredible. I mean, credit to you guys.
It's a passion. It's a kind of, you know, everyday. Surprises me sometimes when I walk past it. All the colours together, all the day dates, the early pieces, and then into true vintage. Most people won't see the 20s,
most people,
30s, the prints.
Yeah, exactly. Will not even recognize these as Rolex watches because they don't look you know, what we've come to assume from either the day dates or the date just.
And the first Oyster, the first waterproof watch made by Rolex in 1926, is a massive invention. It was the first waterproof watch. It catapulted Rolex from a relatively small, unknown company to what, you know, they become to be later on in the 50s, 60s.
Exactly.
And every waterproof mechanism, every Oyster is based on that first screw-down crown.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate the time, the knowledge that you've dropped. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. I'm going to post a link down below to where you can check out David's Instagram, the website as well. Thank you so much for that, David.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thanks.